Hello student, welcome to the online tutorial session. Today we will learn about the different type of software is available. There is two type of software is there. One is system software, another one is the application software. So what is system software? The system software is a collection of programs designed to operate, control and extend the processing capabilities of the computer itself. So system software is generally prepared by the computer manufacturer. These software products are comprises of the programs written in the low-level languages, which interacts with the hardware at a very basic level, and the system software serves as an interface between the hardware and the end user. So if you give an example of this, that operating system, compiler, interpreter are and assembler are the example of the system software. Now we're coming to the topic that is the application software. So application software products are designed to satisfy a particular need of a particular environment. All software application prepared in the computer lab can comes under the category of this application software. So application software may consist of a single program such as Microsoft Note for writing and editing a simple text. It may also consist of the collections of the programs often called the software packages, which works together to accomplish the tasks such as the spreadsheet packages are there. Okay, so these are the two type of system types of software is available. Now we are moving back to the first example of the system software, that is the operating system. Okay, so what's the operating system? Operating system is popularly known as the OS. Okay, an operating system is an interface between the computer and the user. Okay, now generally cannot computer hardware is a very prominent word. An operating system is a software which performs all the basic tasks like management, file management, memory management, process management, okay, handling input and output, and controlling the peripheral devices. Peripheral means the outside devices that is associated with the computer. It can be driver, it can be printer, okay, anything. And some popular operating system is Windows is there, VMS is there. Okay, there are lots more examples are there. So if someone says, say, what is operating system? So then operating system is a program that acts as an interface between the user and the computer hardware and control the executions of all the programs. So if you are just look at the diagram over here, there are the hardware drives are there, that is CPU, RAM and input output devices are there. Okay, and here is the software is there. So and here is the end user. So whatever input and output is given by the user, so either it is given in the system software, it is given to the application software. Every information, every instruction is coming to the operating system. Then operating system will decide and where to send this particular input. It is processing, either for the storing. The computer, that is operating system, is responsible for the all the operations and everything this is done in the computer system. So there are the following tasks are important tasks are performed by the computer, that is memory management, process management, device management, file management, security, controlling over performance, job accounting, error detecting aids, and coordination between the other software. So one by one we need to learn about those things. So the first we will learn about process management. So when a program is executed, it is broken down into number of smaller units called a process or job. Each process acts as a unit of work for the processor and shares the computer resources like CPU, memory space, files, input output device. So a multiprocessing system contains many processes which runs together. The process management module of the OS is responsible for the creation, deletion, and the running of several processes simultaneously. Now coming to the topic, that is memory management. To optimize the CPU utilization, a computer system loads several programs into its main memory. So every program in turns broken down into number of processes before its execution. The operating system uses various memory management algorithms like the concept of the virtual memory to meet the simultaneous memory requirement of several processes. The memory management module of OS is responsible for the allocation and the deallocation of the memory space to the various programs. Now device management. Several input-output devices like keyboard, mouse, monitor, printers are attached with the computer system. Each device has a special hardware and specific software called the device driver, which can operate that particular device The device management module of OS keep track of the input and output requests from the various processes, issues commands to input and output devices, and ensure correct the data transmission and to add the from the those device particular devices. What is file management? The computer stores data in units called files. So whenever a user creates a file, the OS allocates the space for storing that files in the system and writes the data into the file. A unique file name also is given to identify the file. To read the data from the file, the OS opens the file and shows the back the same data which are stored in that particular file. So file management module of OS deals with the creating, naming, storing, retrieving, organizing and the securities of files. Now coming to the topic, which is security management. Unauthorized access to information stored in the computer in the form of file is not desired. So each operating system has a security mechanism to protect the file and the user programs running on the computer from the unauthorized access. The security management module of the OS is responsible for protecting the computer system from misuse and ensures the smooth runs. The file security can be provided using the individual group of the password. Number 5, that is a command interpretation. The user interact with the operating system by means of several commands provided by the OS. The commands interpretation module of the operating system takes care of interpreting the user commands and make the system resources to handle the requests. So this is all about the operating system. Now we talk about another type of system software, that is a text editor. A text editor is a tool that allows the user to create and revise the document in the computer. So this task can be carried out in other modes, like what text editor is there, commonly refers to as tool does interactively. Earlier, computer documents is used to be primarily plain text document, but nowadays, due to the improved input-output mechanism and the file format, a document frequently contains pictures along with the text whose appearance is different, that is size and color and text and styles can be varied within the document. So apart from the proceedings outputs such as wide variety, text editors in today's provides many advantage features, interactive outputs to us. Okay. And now the next topic is a program translator, because from the generation of the language you understood there are different generations of language available, that is high level language and low level language. In case of low level language, it's a assembly language or machine language actually, are the streams of the zeros and ones, so it is no need to translate it. But in case of higher level language, it is more like a human language, like in English. So computer only understands the forms of binary only. So this kind of a high level language code and need to be translated so that machine can understand. The first of all that is we need, that is assembler. An assembler translate a program written in an assembly language into a machine language and is an efficiently a compiler for assembly language, but it can also be used to interactively like interpreter. Assembly language is a low level programming language. Low level programming languages are less like human languages, and they are more difficult to understand at a glance. You have a if you study, they are using the mnemonics over here. So mnemonics is difficult to understand the symbolical format. So an assembler converts the assembly language code into machine code, okay, and lower level language that a processor can directly understand. Okay, and in case of interpreter, another way to get a code to run on your processor is using an interpreter, which is not the same as a compiler. An interpreter translates the code like a compiler but reads the code and immediately execute it on that code, and therefore initially faster than the compiler. Thus, the interpreter are often used in the software development tools such as debugging tool. So as they can execute a single in a code at a time, the compiler translates code at all once, and the processor then executes upon the machine languages, and then the compiler is produced. So if changes are made in the code after compilation, the changed code will be need to be become compiled and then added to the compiler code. Okay, so In case of in interpreter, although the skipping of steps of compilation of an entire program is to start is much slower to execute than the same program. Okay, so now come back to the compiler. There's an interpreter concept, like literally meaning who is an interpreter. Like we need an interpreter for the German. If you are having any business with the German, you cannot speak in the German language. So that point of time, you need an interpreter who can translate your English or Bengali in whatever language you are speaking or are comfortable into a German, and from the German person he heard the German and can translate into your in your comfortable language. So the interpreter is something like this. An interpreter actually try to fix your error, and by each line they will search each line to make it a error free. Okay, but compiler will compile your program as a whole and then show you the error. So the compiler converts high level language code to machine level language, or it is known as object code, in one session. So compliance can take a while because they have translated the high level code to lower level machine language all at once. So then save the executable object codes to the memory. A compiler creates a machine code that runs on a processor with a specific instruction and set architecture, that ISA. So which a processor is dependent? It's a processor dependent. So so after compiling a code, you cannot say that this you have compiled the program in this, and you can compile this code can be using another compiler you can use, because if the processor is different, the architecture is different, it cannot work. Because in some cases, if I can give you an example, the getch is works in the turbo C type of compiler, but in other compiler it cannot work. So return 0 in a broadline sense it will work. So this kind of a thing is happening. Okay, so the majorly the question is comes as a short question from here. The that is, what is assembler, what is interpreter or compiler, or they can ask you the difference between the interpreter and the compiler. It's a very common question. So you prepared this very well. These are actually operating system, text editor, assembler, interpreter and a compiler are basically examples of the system software. There are many more. Okay, we can discuss it later. Thank you, students.